Well, howdy there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. Pastor Will, how you doing today?
Just good. Good to be with you, Matt. And
Yeah, good to be with you as well. So,
we
how
always
was?
have a good time, don't we? I mean, we have a good
Yeah,
time talking to our people. So
absolutely. Sometimes you go off topic because that's how my brain works. So, appreciate you hanging with me on that. But how was Sunday at Island Church?
it was good. We had another good service. I began a new little series around choices. And last week I talked about the one choice that would make the most important difference in your life. And that is, do you surrender your life to follow? Do you serve the King and his purposes and his ways, doing his ways? Or not. And if you do that, that actually makes a lot of complicated things in life a little more simple, makes
Yeah,
choices a little more easier.
yeah,
And so we did that. But I thought, in light of the situation with the tragedy, the loss of life, and the attempt on President Trump's life, we began the service by I made a statement. And then, if you haven't seen that, I made a statement. And then we prayed. And then we kicked off in our service. And at the end, we had, in essence, an altar type call. We had whether a person sat in their chair or they came forward to pray for our country, and also just to pray about making that ultimate choice. Many of our people um, may have probably crossed the line of faith. Most of them probably have, but many people probably that are just considering, what do I do with Christ? And I make that choice? And if I made that choice, do I continue to make it at a full level, or have I just given part of my life? And so it was a good service. Had good feedback, a lot of responsiveness. Some people down front to pray for the country and pray for themselves after the service. So this is another good service.
yeah. Well, definitely a time where prayer is needed for our country, and love that we give our people the opportunity to say, "Hey, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, like it's clear that our country needs Jesus more than
Right.
anything else, and that's the answer to everything." So glad that people got a chance to pray. So glad that former President Trump, current president, maybe future President Trump is safe. Yeah, and just prayers for his family and all those affected by the tragedy. Pastor Will, if folks
Let me
want,
before we do this, let me just add one more thing, Matt. And that is that we talked about the church being the hope of the world, and
absolutely,
I preached that before, that idea. And but I just reminded our people, this is why we're building the building, is to expand our mission, is to change eternity, is to help people say yes to Jesus. It's to change eternity, not just for one person, but often we change it for generations. My children are different, and my grandchildren are different, is because someone was leading me towards Christ in a children's service when I was 10 years old. They had no idea
yeah,
of the things I would touch and things I would do, and just my one little self. So we never know what those little
yeah,
rugrats running around, our
yeah.
little kids. We think about them, what God's going to do in their life, and where they're precious to the parents and they're precious to our church. And so this is why we do what we do, is to help people say yes to Jesus.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of Rugrats and the kids, there's some fun stuff coming up in the life of our church. One of them might involve some kids and something going on with
that's
school.
right. Yes, we've got on August 10th, we've got a back to school. It's 5:30 to 7:30 here at our facility, our
Yeah.
building. And you've been involved in a lot of the advertising and the planning of this, and Stacey's doing a great job with she and her team
Yeah.
putting this together. And I believe, if I have my numbers right, I think I was told yesterday, which is the early part in terms of recording of this week, that there were 195 kids.
That will
So I
be,
don't know how many's going to show up,
yep.
but we're looking for a good day. It's going to be a little water park, a little portion of it, and I think the petting zoo's back, and the fire department, snow cones, and truck, and some food and games. And we are trying. We're working towards our children. And when we reach them and we reach their parents, we help change the future. And so we really want to honor them, and to reach out to them. The building's not going to help us do something we're not already doing, but it can help us do what we're doing, and that's what it's about. So that's one thing going on. So, but there are other things,
Yeah. What
lots
else
of
we
other
got?
things. So, anything you want to say about that? About the you've been
Yeah.
involved?
No, just that. I mean, just huge, just round of applause, right? Like for the work that Stacy and the team has done on that. That will be more than we've had even for Easter egg hunt registrations. It'll by far the largest one we've ever done. it's going to be, we've been praying really for a few years now that God would use this back to school bash as a great opportunity to reach the island and beyond. And just grateful that God's making it happen. The growth is coming. And if you haven't been, that's not to say we're done yet, right? Like that's not,
Right.
hey, yeah, we're all good. There's plenty of room. Anyone that you know, it's going to be a great time, tons of energy with lots of people there. So if you've got grandkids, if you've got kids, if you've got cousins, if you've got some random kid that you met one time at a playground with your kids, invite those families, invite those people in. We'd love to have them there for the back to school bash. Lots and lots of fun going to happen. But we want to see God do some incredible stuff with that event.
Yep, that'll be good. So then on August 14th, just that same next week, I believe on Wednesday nights on August 14th, we've got Island Church at the Rays. So we've got tickets and we'll be going to that particular game. And somebody asked me about the cost of those. And I haven't checked on that yet, but I know Stacy's probably been working on that.
Absolutely.
And so just let her know, send an email up here to us, do something. Let's see it on the Beacon each week. And then maybe there's probably a link there. So that's the 14th. That's a good thing. It's time for us to kind of,
it's huge,
wind things down together in terms of the summer. That's not all we're going to do yet. We still want to get out and do some beach stuff or water stuff. Some of you people that fits you. Some of you that doesn't fit, but I'm in the process of trying to actually get my boat in the water and some others and get ready to go. But that's the 14th. And then, of course, our groups and things like this, the women's ministry and the men's ministry, all that'll be kicking off. You'll hear more about that. Just stay tuned to it. There's just things happening in Life for Church. On August 21st, actually, as well, Terry Nesbitt will be leading again. She and some of our people in our church will be leading Grief Share. Maybe you know someone who's has a loved one, someone that they've lost, maybe even some years ago, and they just haven't processed it in a way that they feel like it's done. And so that group meets all through the fall, and Terry's going to begin on August 21st. So that's some of the things going on in Life Church. A lot of good things.
Love it. All good stuff. Well, Pastor Will, how can folks be praying for the church this week? Obviously, we talked about how they can be praying for the country, but for our church specifically, how can they be praying?
Well, this gathering on the 10th, the back to school bash, it gives us the opportunity, the entree. So maybe you'd pray about, you could volunteer in some way to help with that. It doesn't take a lot of people to do it, but it does take some people to do it. Yeah. We're going to be setting up, we're going to be tearing down, we're going to be running some games and those kinds of things. And so just pitch right in and do that. But just pray for the children, their parents. Some of the people, they'll be there that come to each one of these things that we do, and they've not yet made the transition into the life of our church or connected with our church on a Sunday basis. And so we want to keep developing those relationships and keep calling those people forward, or at least inviting, welcoming them, and then inviting them to what we have going on here at our church, not just the events, but our relationship with God, and that can really impact their kids. You know, we think about physical health, we think about education, the importance of that education, but there's nothing more important than a child's spiritual development.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, that's a great way folks can be praying about their role, but also the community coming in for a back to school bash. Pastor Will, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this, let more people know about it, and we will see you here next week.